It's actually really interesting. I think sport is one of those things that gives you a unique perspective because all your life playing a sport, you're surrounded by so many different types of individuals. So kind of seeing, I think, the nuances of how the greater world works in a smaller area is really cool. And I think at the height of kind of my undergraduate degree, we were faced with a lot. We got hit with the pandemic, and we were in the middle of the Black Lives Matter movement, and in Los Angeles, that was exceptionally big. So for a lot of our Black student athletes, it was the opportunity to take sport, take the time that we now had of being away from sport and use it as a platform to be advocates for our community and for one another. So I think sports, specifically, soccer and track, have taught me that having a voice is a choice, and making that choice to do so is not so much for yourself as it is for others and for generations to come. And just seeing how that affects other people, I think, has been the greatest I think takeaway from it all.
In your opinion, what role can collegiate sports and programs just in general just do in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion?
I think sports is a large vehicle because it's something that brings so many people together. So using it as a foundation to promote DEI principles is always, for me, at the forefront of anything and everything I kind of do. Even when making my selection and where I wanted to transfer to, Mississippi State stuck out to me because I saw so many different culture kind of groups come together in a sense of community that I think is really amazing. And even looking at soccer, when you watch games like, the Olympics or even the World Cup, and seeing so many people from different walks of life be able to share a common interest and share a common joy in something is so beautiful. So using sports as a vehicle to promote DEI, I think should always be on the table and should be not only on the minds of players, but on the minds of institutions and coaches alike. How can we further, I think, advance that and make it a normality rather than something, we do on the occasion.
Brittany, for yourself, being a member of the Haiti national team and just, all the contributions you made to that team and just, not only like your personal experiences, but just, being here in the States as well as Haiti, how do you think that being on such a big platform has helped you share your goals?
Um, I can say he helped me a lot because being an athlete of Mississippi State, I feel like everyone else, without being a Black person or an international student, and that make me feel comfortable. So I would say, like T say, Black History Month is something like we should celebrate as a Black people. And I can say, for me personally, it's like celebrate our ancestors, what they did for us, and we come so far. So to see we have voice to speak right now, it's things going so much different. We are able to do like right. We have our right. We can say not whatever we want, but if we have right to say, we can share our thought, and we have people that are gonna hear and work for us too.
So can you just speak on y'all's relationship? I know that you guys are roommates and you've really grown throughout this past year. So since you've been here, Taylor, and just Brittany, you two, but I know, been here together, can you just speak on how your relationship has grown throughout this year and how close you've gotten?
I'll start. Personally, I've always been very kind of to myself as a person. And I was very nervous making the transfer from Los Angeles to Mississippi. I think one of my biggest concerns was, leaving the friend group I had behind and kind of entering a totally new space. Put on top of that, it was a quick transition, so I quickly had to find a place to live. And our coach reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I think I've got the perfect individual for you to live with." And he's like, her name is Nini. She might be a little quiet, but I think you guys will be perfect. And on the inside, I'm nervous. I'm like, what if she's not gonna like me? We've never met. We're from two completely different places. And I think the first day I met her, I instantly fell in love with who she was as a person. Her personality is charismatic. She's silly, she's goofy. Me being on the older side of the team, I recently just turned 24, so A lot of times I can be a little, grandma Taylor Timms, but she keeps me young. She keeps me on my toes. And she always reminds me what a joy it is to be able to be here playing soccer. At the end of the day, if you take away all the things that I think overcomplicates it and makes it stressful, she always reminds me it's the game we fell in love with when we were kids. And outside of that, it's like having a little sister. And I love it. I love every single day of it.
Good, as you should. I mean, for me, transfer from Louisiana, and I didn't know who I'm gonna stay with, and I don't know anyone. And James was telling me like the same thing. He got a perfect match for me, and honestly, I didn't care about who I'm gonna stay with because it's not something I really see. And when I know it's her, and I'm like, it's a black girl, we're gonna, we know on some way we're gonna be cool. And as I said, when I get here, and our first day, she helped me with my bag, and she almost fell. And at this time, it was cool. And I started learning from her, and she helped me with soccer, with school sometimes. And she always here for me when I really feel like down sometimes. And yeah, I don't show that much, but she's my loved one. So yeah, she's my big sister, my twin.
Stop, because I get cry.
So, Tara, back to you. I know you got nominated for NCAA Woman of the Year while you were at Cal State. And, just being with that, your involvement with just not only women's sports, but Black women in sports, how can you speak on that?
I think, no one really sets out to, achieve certain accolades, right? You're really just trying to do the most good you can with the time you're given. So a great deal of my undergrad was really focused on how can I advance the community where I am, where I reside in, whether that's student athletes, Black women, Black female student athletes alike. I wanted to make sure I left something that mattered so much to me better than I found it. So whether it was in the classroom, working with professors to advance the interests of student athletes and build a bridge of understanding when it came to, what does a student athlete encounter on a day-to-day basis? How does the support of academic professors and faculty go a long way into uplifting their experience and reciprocally uplifting, the community and the institution that they go to. I also did a lot of work within my athletic community with, okay, how do we take all these various intersections of identity, because we lived in Los Angeles, which is one of the, largest communities of people you can see coming from different walks of life, and ensure that everyone is seen, heard, and celebrated and understood as individuals that are more than their sport. And even as I continue my journey here at Mississippi State, I think that's a narrative that I'm always looking to push. Who are we outside of the game when you step off the pitch, when you take the jersey off? And are we championing, and celebrating that individual to the best of our ability? So, when I had heard about the nomination, I was surprised because usually those kind of go to those that excel athletically with the high statistics and accolades. But for me, my success, I found, solace in knowing I helped somebody in their journey here, somehow improved the experience, or gave someone, hope or the courage to then, take up arms and continue whatever it was that I would hope to start there. So yeah, from SAC to DEI boards to working with the Du Bois-Hamer program, I was involved in a lot, but looking back, I'm grateful for every moment.
So for both of you, what initiatives do you think need to be in place to, ensure the celebration of Black History Month, not only in February as a symbolic month, but just throughout the year, and what can we do to make people better understand Black history and just celebrate it?
Black history shouldn't be limited to the premise of a month. Black history is every single day. It's every moment. It's something that we encounter at every minute, second, of our lives. So I think expanding the understanding that while it's important to have these days that really, or months that really pinpoint and focus on a topic, to not leave such a conversation limited to that specific month. Black history is not only focusing on, those really tough narratives when you look at, historical accountances of where our country began, but it's also celebrating innovation, design. A lot of times, I think in my formative years growing up, when we talked about Black history, it was rare we talked about, Black entrepreneurs, Black scientists, mathematicians, those who made great strides in various areas of life. And I think that representation matters, because when you only understand your history or an identity through a scope that is so, sometimes limiting and just kind of founded in a great pain, it's hard to see yourself as something more than that. So expanding the topics of Black history to include, the successes, the major milestones, highlighting the people that were the first to, walk into rooms and kind of set a precedent is very important. And I recently went to the Black History Month panel that we had on campus, and seeing all the Black staff and faculty members and them sharing their stories with us students, it was heartwarming in a way, because, a lot of the things we encounter on a day-to-day basis, they've gone through themselves. But to understand that they went through such things, sometimes without the resources that we have, or the accessibility to communities that we have, I think reaffirms our individual strength and understanding, like, hey, if they did it then, we can do it now. And it also just makes me want to give them, so much gratitude and praise, for trailblazing and making it possible for us to be here today. Because, if they weren't here, there's a great chance we wouldn't be here today, sitting in front of you. So if I could leave anyone with anything, it would be Black history is more than a month. It's more than a singular narrative. And it should be something, that is a part of a conversation 365 days a year, just like any other, intersectional identity complex.
Any words you would like to say, just to sum up today's talk, what would you say?
I would say grateful. Grateful that we have individuals a part of, our athletic community that take the time to create content like this, because if you would have asked 5-6-year-old me, would this have been possible, in the framework of her mind, it would have never come to fruition. So this matters not only for who we are today, but I think for young girls and boys to come who see themselves, pursuing a pathway in sports or even seeking higher education, that there are places and spaces for you, that there are people who want to highlight and champion your journey and celebrate you. And it's something that I'm excited to see continue. And I'm excited when I look at Mimi and her journey that is only beginning, it makes me excited to see, okay, how do these next generations of young athletes, players, boys and girls, take up, this kind of space and make it their own. So it's weird to speak from the older perspective now, but it's exciting because I know she's going to do great things, and I know generations to come are going to do amazing things.
Yeah, and speaking about that for me, and I feel like that's good to learn all of that stuff to help people from home, because majority of them don't really know have this time to celebrate life in general, being like Black, even all of that we're going through. But we have a lot of things we can do to succeed in life. We have to bring joy together, make your own path to be success. And yeah, that's how I keep learning every day from everyone at Mississippi State, from my teammate, the coaching staff. So yeah, because each of those things give me idea to bring them something different too.